Hello. Okay, so we are ready for another episode of B Sharp and C, but this episode is actually going to be the Shazam Showdown. Yeehaw! And we have Shazam. As you all know, what I like to do when I binge watch TV is have my phone by my side, and anytime a song comes on that I think is worth listening to again at a later time, I will hit Shazam and just let it fall right into the history of Shazam so I can go back like today and see, was that song really worth saving? Was it really good? It's tough sometimes when you only hear a 10-second snippet of a song. I always go back to the Bourne Identity where that song, when the closing credits start, that song, that beginning part of that song is so good. But as soon as the dude starts singing, I just totally lose interest. I just don't think it was engineered and mixed all that well. But I love that first beginning part of that song. So sometimes you hear a song for 10 seconds and think it's really good. You hit Shazam, and then 2 weeks later, you go back and look at it and realize it ain't that good. So let's do that today. Let's go into my Shazam history and see what we can see on this episode of B Sharp and C. Okay, here we are at my Shazam history. Let's go into the history and do see all. And let's just go through and see if we can find a song. All right. How about this one? Gemini by Nayome. Right here. Gemini by Nayome. I'm super excited about it. Let's go do Gemini by Nayome. Now, there's a chance, let me see if I can cue it up. There's a chance that there is a music video. If there is a music video, I will go ahead and share the screen. If not, you'll just get to look at my stupid face when we listen to the song. Ah, it's from the show Ballard. Oh, here we go.
Make you wanna plan a lover days. Travel through the ocean, take a plane. You and I may wanna take a break. Oh, we both need time to work on things. As long as we address them within ourselves. So if you like to kick it, we've got to be persistent. Got to be intentional. Don't be
I like that. So let me just look and see who this is so I can pull it up right here. So this is the this is the video. She only has 262 subscribers. Um, here because of Ballard. This Ballad soundtrack is fire. Never heard of this artist or song. Beautiful voice and sexy song. Here from Ballad, and wow, the way this song gave me chills when I first heard it. Yeah, so a lot of people are watching Ballard, which now the show Ballard is actually more popular on Amazon Prime than the show Reacher, which is really interesting. Maybe they'll do like a Ballad Reacher fusion, right? Call it Beacher, and it's just a person sitting on the beach. That's me living in Florida. I'm a beacher. I go to the beach and just sit there for hours. Oh, there's nothing like peeing in the ocean. All right, ready?
coming with this small talk. There's a time that you really recognize what you say to me when you spark my mind. Oh, I feel the flames between you and I. Oh, you say you're a Gemini. Yeah, you really, really caught my eye. Visions of paradise, you and I.
So, you and I.
Visions of paradise, you and I.
So this sounds like, I mean, let me see if I can, auto-generated by YouTube, provided to YouTube by TuneCore. See that right there? Provided to YouTube by TuneCore. I still have Zach Brown up. TuneCore is a digital music distribution service. So it's like DistroKid or CD Baby. It acts as a bridge between artists and major digital stores. Man, this girl, Gemini, is like me. I was using DistroKid, and I had all my songs released through DistroKid, and I, it would go to all major streaming services, and I really liked it. But look at me. I'm just a dude with 5,000 musical instruments behind him. I'm just a guy who does his own music. I self-produce, I self-engineer, and I self-distribute through I was doing it through DistroKid. I recently took all my songs off of major streaming services because I just got sick of it, right? But it pans out for a lot of people. This artist here, she got her song on the movie, I mean, on the show Ballard, which is really cool. Let's go back to it. Very good vocals. Great panning, great vocals. Sounds like she's using either some type of synthesizer, or she could be using loops for the background music. Nice beat.
Your potential, please. 'Cause I believe in you and me. Maybe disappointed, but it's not to be a flop. But think I hate it on the day.
Oh, I like that.
So let's get a lock on this and proceed. Making me wanna shake it, don't you?
So there's more emphasis on the mixing and engineering of the vocal tracks than anything. I would not doubt it if the background music was simply some type of loops that were spliced together, or some type of programming.
Vibration, temptation, use sensation, oh baby. Now what you say to me?
But there's a very high emphasis on multiple vocal tracks, multiple vocal tracks, and all engineered differently depending upon the effect that she wants to give on each track. You know, some of the tracks are lower and they're panned, the lower in level, and they're panned to the right or the left, and they have a high reverb and a little bit of delay on them, whereas the main vocal track doesn't have as much reverb.
Oh, you say you're Gemini. Yeah, you
But right there's like 6 vocal tracks, so 5 vocal tracks is insane.
really caught my eye. Which is a paradise, you and I.
And I don't think she just copied and pasted the vocal tracks from one ear to the other, because you can't. I've done that with like trumpet or saxophone or even my own vocals. I'm like, oh, I want to do a double vocal track, and one on the left ear and one on the right ear. And then I take the one that's on the left ear, I copy it and paste it, and then pan it down to the right ear, you know, and you really don't hear the effect. You need a difference. Some people take one track and slide it like 20 milliseconds so that they're not identical copies at identical times. But then you can still kind of hear that that was done. This sounds like this vocalist just recorded multiple vocal tracks, and that's a ton of work, but it pays off. This sounds great.
Will you stay?
Oh, I like that.
Could tell you a little secret, tell you something from
Well, let's go back. So that's good engineering. So you hear that sound in the background with the high reverb. It starts in the left ear. I think as the sound begins to fade, it also begins to fade over and pan to the other ear. Listen to that.
paradise, you and I. Will you stay? Will you stay? I could tell you a little secret, tell you something from my mind.
Yeah, that is an incredible technique that I've used it with some of my saxophone playing where I hold a note and it starts on the left ear, and then as the note is coming to an end, it begins to pan to the right ear. That is a really, really nice technique, and she does it here with her vocals. You can hear it again.
Tell you a little secret, tell you
You hear that?
something from my mind. I got to tell you a little secret, tell you something from my
And
mind.
it goes over.
On my dime, I want you on my line. It ain't a crime to hit my line all the time. Gemini, hit my line.
You can hear a little bit of the pitch correct right there, which isn't the end of the world, and a lot of my songs, um, because I spent so much time recording the tracks and doing everything else, there are times when I'm editing something and something sounds right, but as you go back, you can hear that I used pitch correct, and you can hear that the tone is getting pulled right there.
Gemini,
Right there.
hit my line.
Man, such good work.
Hit my line, Gemini, hit my line. Hit my line, Gemini, hit my line. Hit my line.
Oh, God. I like that. You hear that in the right ear? Da, 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 da. Didn't have to do it, but she did. Now it's over here. Wow, that fade out is really long. All right. So, what's her name again? Nayome. So now comes the part of the video that I always have a hard time with, and that's trying to give it a score. And I have to go into the genre. I have to go into, she has almost like a weird, I don't know if I would call it trip hop. I don't know, maybe, but she's got like a weird trip hop type of beat, but there's not a lot going on musically. And that's something about this song that I need to come right out and say. There's musically and instrumentally, as far as instruments, um, there's not a lot going on at all. But I don't think that Nayome wants to focus on that. And it might just be that she's more inclined to do something vocally. So that's what she decides to focus on, musically, there's not a whole lot going on. So it could have been loops and samples that she got, like royalty free loops and samples. And sometimes when you do that, and I've done this, when you take loops and samples, sometimes you realize, uh, this seems a little empty. So you might add something to the loops and samples. You can add a little bit of organ or add a little bit of this. I don't know if she did that here. It actually doesn't sound like she did. It sounds like this is mostly either synthesizer or just loops and samples. I didn't break it down as far as how many chord changes there were, but it didn't sound like there were a lot. Now, all that being said, and that might appear to be a criticism, right? But all that being said, I had to go to the other side of the token, which is the tremendous effort that she put in to recording something that vocally is very, very, very different and time consuming. I can tell you right now, she spent the majority of the mixing of this song on vocal tracks. I mean, like 90% of the mixing was the vocal tracks. Once you have the music down and you EQ it and you see exactly where it is you want to go and you see where in the song you want to have the percussion stop or change, once that's done, you're kind of all set. But I wouldn't doubt it if she had, like, depending upon what DAW, like Pro Tools or Logic or Reason or whatever, I wouldn't doubt it if she had like 4 tracks of percussion and background music with like loops and splices and stuff, and then 25 tracks of vocals, because not one vocal track is like the other. Um, Different effects on each vocal track, they were panned differently. And then even within each vocal snippet, there was panning going on. Some things started over here, then finished up top over here, or even further over. It sounded like, yeah, effects were even being adjusted and added within a track, within a snippet. So a tremendous work, and on top of that, a really nice voice. She has a very nice voice, and the song is just good. It's just a good song. But she definitely is, she reminds me of myself, someone who has musical skills and wants to make music and doesn't necessarily either have the time or desire or whatever it is, or resources to get a whole entire band involved. That can be difficult. When I was making my music, I many times hired vocalists. I would write a song, I would sing it, send it to a vocalist, say, hey, what do you think of the song? Can you do it? Yeah, I can do it. Send them $50, $100, $175, $75, whatever the case was. They would lay down their vocal track, and I would just remove mine and put theirs in. And then I would spend time mixing and editing and engineering the vocal track that I just purchased from the singer. And I do that with violinists and cellists and other instrumentalists. I do that with people who play the harmonica. I think it would be fun. In fact, I have a song written that I have a hard time singing that I think someone like her would just absolutely do a bang up job with, and I do still have a lot of songs. I write a lot of music, so I have songs written that vocally I'm like, I don't want to release this just yet because I don't know how to release it because I can't make my vocals sound good. Vocals are hard. Vocals are hard, and then the second hardest would be percussion if you're actually doing the percussion. A lot of times people just take a percussion sample or loop and throw it in the DAW and then just adjust it in other ways. But if you're in control of every hit, every kick, every ride, every hi-hat, every snare, if you're either using drums like a drum kit or you're programming every hit, then percussion can make or break you, just like vocals can make or break you. It's two of the hardest things are percussion and vocals. And she took it upon herself to make a very beautiful vocal track. I mean, it's many tracks, but if you can take all those tracks and just send it off as one file, one track if you want. She took it upon herself to put a lot of work into the vocal track. A lot of work, like a tremendous amount of work, and it paid off. The music director working with the production company for Ballard noticed this and said, yes, I want this song in the show. I want this song in the show. It ended up in the show for good reason. When you watch shows, have your phone by your side. That is how you discover artists like this one here. Anyways, now it's time to give it a score. And I have to give it a score with everything taken into consideration. The work and the beauty of the vocals and just the way the vocals hit me as different and just how beautifully they're engineered. It's going to be over a 7. I don't know if it's going to be over an 8. I only have 3 songs right now that I've reviewed that are over an 8, but this is definitely going to be high. I would say 7.7. I would give this a sharp score of 7.7. And I think that that's a really, really phenomenal score. I really do. I think that the song was really nice. I think the effort was really nice. And I'm not just saying, oh, nice effort, because it was lacking in other ways. But I know how much work she put into this. If she didn't engineer it herself, then whatever. But I know how much work was put into the engineering and mixing of this song. And that's why I'm going to give it what I think is a high score of 7.7. You tell me what you think of the score. If you think it's too high or too low, let me know. And if there's a song that you want me to review, put it in the comment section and I will be sure to review it. And that's all I got to say. This is Artie Astor from B Sharp and C saying, keep it groovy.